Our podcast is a part of the World Podcast Network, now with over 1,000 podcasts. Visit the World Podcast Network at worldpodcast.network to listen to podcasts in over 12 genres. Come vote our podcast episodes up and help us rise on the leaderboard. If you have a podcast of your own, you can join for free. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Danica, and today we're going to be jumping in with The Last Resort. So I think how we do this episode at this point is we're going to be doing the final episode, the first part of the tell-all, and then the second part of the tell-all. I don't know how many parts we're getting of this nonsense, but here we are. So that's what we're gonna be doing. Obviously the first part's gonna be longer because it was a 2-hour episode, but I feel like it's fitting that we do that final episode, so that's what we're gonna be doing. Before we head into it, announcement, Patreon's available, links in the show notes. If you'd like to join, love to have you there. It's fun, a little bit. We're covering Jersey Shore right now. I think as of recording, we're in the second season, I think. So that's what we're doing. And we also have true crime docs available. The first one was Ashley Madison. Second one was Man with 1,000 Kids. This one that we're doing in April, I believe, is Twin Flames. No, that's not Twin Flames. We're not there yet. Or is it Twin Flames? I don't remember. No, it's not Twin Flames. Oh, Into the Fire. That's what we're doing. It's Into the Fire. Twin Flames is coming, because there is the recording for that. I think that's coming out in June. And we also have next month, so it's going to be the Lacey Peterson documentary on Netflix. So we have stuff coming, going through Jersey Shore. So yeah, that's where we're at. Now, let's go into some hot goss. So first piece of hot goss. Now, this has been discussed with a little bit. I don't know. I feel like if true, this is a bad decision on both parts. So there's the rumor that Sophie is dating Pedro. Yike upon yikes, man. I mean, if it's basically just a fuck thing, go for it. Do what you gotta do. But if this is an actual relationship, my God. My God. So another thing that has popped up as well, because I'm not paying too much attention to that. Next thing that's popped up, apparently, Veronica, who I don't know why she refers to herself as Veronica Plath, but here we are. I think her and Micah are no longer together because apparently she was on a Reddit saying this, where someone said this and she responded. So someone said on Reddit, I can see him being a jackhammer in sex too. He gives jackhammer and I can't find the clit or just being self-centered in sex, lol. Veronica responded back with, I can tell you one thing, it was never a good time. Yikes. So guess there's that. I guess they're not together anymore. But hey. Another piece of hot goss that I'm gonna put out here too. Guy Ganser. If you remember Guy from Golden Bachelorette. Apparently he's gonna be making his return to network television with a guest star spot on General Hospital. Seems fitting. Recently retired from the medical field, this 66-year-old former suitor will play a wildlife journalist named Jeffrey Beckett on an episode of the storied daytime soap set to air. Apparently, this came out already on March 12th, so hopefully everyone who watches General Hospital enjoyed. Um, People first broke the news for a look at him in character. You can see that if you don't watch General Hospital, he just looks like him. It's fine. Um, Another piece of hot gossip, since I know the hot gossip is pretty quickly here. The reality stars recently sat down with people. So this was Sarper and Shekinah, and they're talking about the experience of living in Los Angeles after years of long distance dating, and Shekinah's brief move to Turkey. Acknowledging that Shekinah has not always trusted Sarper to be faithful, he says that she has nothing to worry about anymore, and here's why. Quote, I love him so much. I have a very chaotic past with that body count thing. You can see it's referring to his past revelation that he had slept with nearly 3,000 different women, as we know. Saying, quote, but for a man, if the body count is high, it's a good thing for a relationship. Because right now, women can't tempt me. Wherever I go, women try to talk to me. I don't care how beautiful they are, how sexy. I don't care. Because I saw everything. I had the fantasy. So this literally, I have fucked my way through being faithful, basically. That's why I always told her, okay, you don't like my past, the body count, but it's a benefit for the relationship. This is why I love him. I want to have a roving eye because I had a roving eye already. Well, viewers might wonder if Sarper's loyalty will be tested by living somewhere with an entirely different group of women. He insists that that's not the case. And here's why. Woman is woman everywhere. On paper, I am the worst candidate for a boyfriend or for a husband with that past. If I have a sister and she brings such a guy, I will say, what are you doing? I understand that. She kind of agrees, saying that the trust thing gets easier, thing got easier when he moved to the US and became more dependent on her. Well, shit. I thought you wanted to have this dynamic of he's the boss and you do what he wants you to do. How do you do that under these circumstances? Anywho's, she says in Turkey, I always wondered what would he be like in Los Angeles with a bunch of beautiful women around. I don't know how he's going to act. Is he going to embarrass me? She explains. And then as soon as I saw him in Los Angeles, he's oblivious to anyone, and he's so hyper focused on me. I was like, he doesn't really want to be this person forever. I felt like he was getting tired of that life. Maybe. Still, she says they struggled with the move in other ways. In Turkey, for example, she kind of admits that she liked being submissive, quote unquote, to Sarper, but in America, things are different. Saying, our dynamic changed because I am having to take the lead now because he's in my world. I'm like, this is how we do things here, and he's an alpha male. In Turkey, I fell back and I was taking his lead. And when that role reversed, it probably did seem like a change because our dynamic changed. So we wish them the best. Honestly, I really just wish Sarper the best because he's my everything. Okay, so before we hop into the episode, I do want to acknowledge this commenter for giving 5 stars. So this was on the World Podcast Network. So I do want to thank this person. This was done on March 23rd by Burrita2. And they said, love the music and stories, fun podcast. Thank you so much. Keep it coming. You might end up on the podcast here. So yeah, that's that, guys. Let's jump into the reason that we are here. And that is The Other Way season 2. And we're doing the finale episode. So as we know, the last episode, which I don't think I discussed, we're, having a little bit of a conversation about the throuple situation. So we're back with that. And Jasmine's crying, and he's like, we need to create rules. I need to have my husband's approval of, the throuple conversation, not Rob, the conversation between Matt, Jasmine, and Gino. So yeah, she's crying, and she says, like, we need to create the rules. I need to have my husband's approval. So Gino, she says, is here. He has questions for you, Matt. This is so weird. So Gino's like, hi. So how'd you meet? He's like, the gym. Never been intimate before? No, she's married. The fuck you say? So she's married. Okay, great. So what does that mean when we're getting other people's wives pregnant? I'm just, I have questions. But hey, here we are. Um, he's like, I don't want to sabotage because that's wrong. The fuck you say? Okay. Then Gino's like, are you single? Why would you ask this question? Because honestly, I have questions for this question, but maybe he's kind of hoping Matt has a girlfriend so that he's not like gonna try and take my woman from me. Sir, he's still gonna be sleeping with your wife. Like, okay, more on that later. But he's like, yes, he is single. You've been in relationships? What? What? No, Gino, apparently no. No, he's never had a single fucking relationship. What is this question? What is this question? I'm just, I literally, when I hear him ask this question, I'm like, you cannot be serious. Have you been? He's like 30 something years old. I would like to think and hope the man's been in a relationship, at least one. And he says, yep, I've been in a few. um, but he said no marriages though. So, um, and like, so we talked about safe sex. Are you good with safe sex? He says yes. Apparently not. My Matt has this weird smile on his face, like he's I don't even know. It was very weird. Um, and Jasmine's like, this is a weird conversation. Well, yeah. And you've created this weird conversation because you insisted that your man's needs to be a part of all of this, which I don't see why. Um, so Juno basically says, if she starts to fall in love, we agreed that this would be coming to an end. It's like, I'm fine with that. Don't fall in love with the Jersey. I mean, wrong show. Uh, but he doesn't thus say, Matt. I think he kind of oversteps here a little bit, but maybe I don't know. I don't have a huge problem with them saying this, but under the circumstances, don't freaking say it to her husband. Maybe, maybe just not. And he says, I do think Jasmine is fragile. And I do think she needs someone who be gentle with her. And she's a gentle way of handling. Okay. Okay. He, he's like, when I don't see her, you know, being taken care of, in a way that I think she deserves, it sucks. And that right there is an indication that Gino abort mission because they have already established a friendship with each other. You can't go backwards once you've established, you know what I mean? Because like, I mean, I don't know. Gino very diplomatically says, well, I appreciate that, but I think that would be between me and her, so put the fuck out kind of situation. And in the moment, he says, I can see the connection between them. And part of me wants to clock him in the face. I think any man would want to clock him in the face for putting his 2 cents in here. Um, but Gino's okay with it, so he says at this moment. And he's like, well, Gino, it's nice meeting you. And then he says, Jasmine, I'll be seeing you in Michigan. And Jasmine says, yeah, to work out. And I took that as like a euphemism. I'm going to work it out. You know what I mean? But Gina's like, no. No. You're supposed to have sex. That's what you're supposed to do. Wouldn't it not have been better to just leave it at workout instead of being, no, you guys are not working out with each other. You guys are only having sex with each other. Okay? Like, no, not this. Anyways, It's like, okay, yeah, oh yeah, sure, it's okay, sex. And then Matt ends up saying to Jasmine, okay, take care of yourselves. Make sure you eat. Make sure you drink some water. Listen, that is not a man who's only trying to have sex. That is a man who cares about this woman to make sure she's feeding herself and she's drinking enough water. This is a man who is in love, okay? Not a man who's only trying to, see what's going on, okay? Who only wants to take her to the candy shop. This is a man who wants to take her to, I don't know, I don't know. He's in love, you know what I mean? So, yeah. So Natalie has decided, we're taking a turn here. Natalie has decided that she is still going to be going to the recommitment ceremony for herself. You know, like, I'm so proud of her for now, because as we'll find out in the part one of the tell all, choices will be made. Josh was going back home to his girlfriend, his house. Um, so he says that he feels like she was relieved, like he's upset that she appeared to be relieved. Sir, you ended it with her. Can't she not feel some sort of relief? Like, I don't know. Like, I felt kind of disrespected. Well, then be disrespected. You can't have it both ways. You can't end it with her and then be like, I feel disrespected. Like, get out of here. Go do your stupid videos. You stupid dummy. Anyway, that I can't never not watch. He says, he wants to go home, be the best him, be the best dad that he can be, blah, blah, blah. Moving on. So the group is going to be going on their last little hangout before the recommitment ceremony. Stacy cheers to happy endings, not literally. Stacy, you didn't need to literally say that, though. I think we all understand. Not everything do we need to go big on, if you know what I mean. Anyways, Rom is like, Gina believes in Jasmine, but she doesn't believe in him. Would you? Sir, no, listen to me. Gino, first of all, doesn't believe in anything. The only thing he believes in is his porn history, okay? Jasmine doesn't need to believe in Gino. Why? Because she hasn't been able to even suck a toe. She doesn't need to believe in him. He's giving her nothing to believe in. And the fact that this man actually thinks that Gino, but you have guts to be kidding me. He can't be this men's rights now. Like, come on. Um, Jasmine, he says, shouldn't get to get away with it. Men's rights now. When do we want it? Now. Like, seriously. Get out of here. And the way the way he's going to talk and treat her at the tell-all pisses me off to no end. And honestly, I won't say who, but there is a particular person who has been on this podcast who literally is like Team Rob, and I'm like, no, I will never. Do I necessarily think Jasmine made good choices? No. Do I think that it's all deserved because Gino didn't do diddly shit about anything? Maybe. But do I think that you have a right to talk to her in the way you're talking to her, where you have no fucking leg in the race? Yeah, that I have a problem with. He can fuck off to I don't know where. Bumfuck somewhere else. I just it pisses me off. Ugh, but we'll talk about that later. So yeah, he said, yeah, I shouldn't get away with it. So Jasmine and Gino get there a little late, and he says, so we called Matt before we got here. Maybe we could have, leave Matt out of it. And like, we did that so we can get to know him, or Gino can get to know him, to see if he is the right person. No, he isn't the right person. As much as Rob pisses me off through all of this, everything he says is actually pretty, I'm with him. which is how he says it and how he attacks Jasmine through it, acting like Gino is holier than thou. The only person who seems to see the real shit is Florian. Like, like you know. But so no, he's not the right person. Barab says he I think you should keep looking. And Gino does talk about like the connection between them, you know. And Julia ends up asking, but what if you feel feelings? And Gino's like, well, it's in the rules. So since it's in the rules, she can't feel it. Seriously. I'm laughing only because it's like, okay, well, rules are meant to be broken. Really and truly. But anyway, so that's in the rules. So that's not allowed. And Florian is like, I think, fuck off with Matt and fuck your wife. That way, if you fuck your wife, she won't need to fuck the hot guy from the gym who's literally telling her, make sure you eat your food and drink your water. Like, you know what I mean? And Rob says, you're going to fall for this guy. Yeah. 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 That's. And Gino says, I know she loves me. I I don't doubt that she does, but there's a difference between being in love and loving somebody. Everyone, we can love anybody, but being in love is two different things. And I don't know if she's in love with him anymore. I don't know. Um, but anyway, she's like, yeah, but he's going to be the one fucking her, not you. So this is a thing, we always have that stupid thing of women can't have sex without emotions. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Been a minute, but I can. So women are very capable of having sex without emotions. We are capable of it. But Jasmine, I don't know. Here's the thing. If there was an emotional, at the very least, connection between Gino and Jasmine where she feels loved by him, she feels wanted by him, things might be very different here. Because she's not even getting that validation, much less she's not getting the physical validation from him, yeah, she's going to fall in love with Matt. That's exactly what's going to happen. Because Matt is giving her this attention. He's showing her he cares. He is giving her the not only physical validation, but the mental, emotional validation that Gina refuses to give her. So yeah, she is. Damn right she is. So Gina basically says, well, if it gets out of hand, well, it'll just be cut off. But as Rob says, and I agree with him, ugh, he says, but you'll be the last to know if that is what's happening. You will be the last to know. And most likely, Jasmine and Matt are not going to be the ones to tell you. You're going to have to open up your big brown eyes, I think they're brown, and nail them and figure it out for yourself. That's how this is going to work. Jasmine is feeling a little bit insulted at the moment, which I can understand why she feels that way. I think at the end of the day, these two dum-dums have made a decision. I think the other couples need to butt out, let them do this. Let this shit devolve, because that's what's going to happen. Who cares at this point? And that's just not happening. And yeah, so she's feeling a little bit insulted at the moment. And she said, like, Gino's an adult. Yeah, but he's an adult that's kind of being pushed against the wall here. And this is the best decision for them. And she's like, we're probably allowed to have his feelings, but doesn't, you can't force it on us. And that is exactly what Rob is doing because men's rights now. So he needs to, Rob says, you are open to this. All right, then fine. But open up to another person. You now decided to open up. So why is Jasmine already have a man lined up ready to go? That I understand. That I get. Because I think, and I think Sophie says this, if my man came to me and said he wants to open up the relationship, first of all, no. Secondly, if I was in agreement, which it would be a cold day in hell, but if I was, I would be taken aback if I heard he had someone already lined up. The hell have you been doing behind my back? You know what I mean? Opening up should only opening up to a person or someone new should only happen once both parties have agreed. That I agree with. Jasmine says, no, I don't think we're out of Jasmine yet. Stacy says, can I say something? It's like, I agree with you, Rob. And you know Jasmine's like, the fuck you say? I also agree with Rob. I'm like, I don't care, do what you gotta do because Gino sure as hell ain't doing it. I do agree with Rob. Um, so she's like, yeah. She's like, I think that Gino feels forced to do this. I think Matt already has feelings for you. And Jasmine's like, well, he might, but like, I don't have feelings for him. Bullshit. Yes, you do. You have some form of something for him. And all that sex is going to do is make that a little bit bigger and bigger and bigger until it can't be ignored anymore. So then Stacy says, well, I saw the smiles, that I hadn't seen from you. They're not mad smiles, but Jasmine smiles. Florian is like, he's dumb, dumb, stubborn. Gino, yeah, 100%. Stacey says, I think you, or says, yeah, so she says, I think you know that I see it or whatever. Jasmine says, I can't have a random person. No one said you had to have a random person. She says, I need to have some like trust in the person. Again, no one said that you can't establish that. But what we're saying here is that you've already established this with a person prior to talking to your husband about opening up your marriage. That is the problem. Why did that happen? That's what we're trying to figure out here. So she's like, I would have to start over. So start over. Start over. If you're respecting your husband, start over. Rob is like, okay, so do it. He's like, you all agree now. So now go find someone. Not, don't have them lined up ready to go. Gino's like, I think so. Yeah, Matt is out. So again, with having Matt's rights now here to advocate for Gino, this is when he's like, yeah, you're right. That's not going to work. Jasmine starts crying and says, okay, let's put this out there, okay? For a year, he hasn't touched me. I have been begging and I was fully faithful. She's like, you have no idea you're being judgmental. You are the last people who should be crucifying me. Fuck you all. Fuck everyone. And this is what she says. Now, I don't fully understand what she's going through, not to this extent. But again, the few months that I felt unwanted and kind of, if not physically rejected, but emotionally, without going into all the major details, with my ex-husband when we went through this, it was heartbreaking. It was hard to come back from. It took time to kind of reestablish things because even though, I would say maybe 80% of the time I wasn't being physically rejected, but still noticing the changes because again, it's like when we would be intimate, intimacy was not just about the physical part of it. It we were, emotionally connected as well. And to kind of feel like that emotion is gone and knowing that something has changed, it's a lot. So I understand where she's coming from that perspective as much as I can, where you're constantly feeling rejected by your husband and you don't know what to do about it. I totally get it. But I also totally understand them saying, Matt's not it. I don't know if they're necessarily thinking Matt's trying to infiltrate. I don't know. We'll never fully, I guess, know unless we will know. But Jasmine is establishing a connection with somebody else that isn't her husband. That's a problem, you know? Rob says, you've been waiting 9 months. So have I. If I can hold out, so can you. Is that what made me feel better? Because there is no way in hell you can convince me that Rob hasn't had sex with somebody in that time. You can't. Sorry. I don't fucking buy it. And again, that's not fully true because if we are to believe Sophie, you have at least been trying to seek some form of validation from people. If we are to believe Jasmine, she hasn't even done that until she met Matt. And she's at least getting some form of validation or companionship from someone that's not her husband. So, just saying. Then Gino is or saying Rob says Gino's heart is on the line. Shut up. Rob says what it's or like we're saying like what was that? Like why is she acting that? Because she like ran off at the point. Why she acting like well, she's acting like that because she understands that her back has been put pressed against the wall here. But yeah. And like I think that was because she can't hold on to the guy that she wants. Yes, she's pretty much cleared that up for you. And we're like, Jasmine, or I'm saying Jasmine is not okay. She's freaking out. She's crying. Stacy says, we are not, judging you. We're just trying to understand. Well, this is when I say, I totally get it. You're trying to help her, trying to get it, trying to understand. But some things are just not meant for us to understand, especially in somebody else's relationship. You don't need to understand. You just need to trust me. That's it. So Rob is like, I wonder if all of this came out after Matt in terms of the open relationship, which either way you flip it, it doesn't matter whether it's Matt pushing it or Jasmine pushing it or, a thought pops into her head because she sees Matt and she's like, oh, I want that. Whatever it doesn't matter. It's basically what came first, chicken or the egg. It doesn't matter. It is what it is. But he says, he could be flirting. She thinks that he's cute. And now let's do an open marriage. Again, the order of how things happen doesn't matter. So Jasmine goes back to the hotel because she's out. She's outie. Florian says, you are embarrassing her. Fucking finally. Somebody. You know what, Florian? Jesus Lord. Thank God for Florian. Because it's like, yeah, you're embarrassing her. Just fuck your wife. Simple. It's not that simple. Are you serious? Are you serious? I feel like it doesn't matter if I'm mad, pissed off, whatever the case may be, but go to my man and say, let's bang this out. Is he gonna seriously say, you know what? My emotions isn't there. No. Now every person's different. Every man is different. I totally get that. But I feel like yes, emotion is important and I understand. But you're literally saying you feel nothing for your wife. That you can't find a little spark of something. It's like, you know what? Even if it's not about sex, you're gonna have some form of intimacy with your partner. There's none of that happening. It's it's mm, mm-mm. Um yeah, he's like, or sorry, Florian says, "How old are you?" And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And Gino's like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "I don't see how my age is prevalent to this conversation." Um, and then, but he starts to get his back up a little bit. He's like, "Well, older than you." I'm like, "Oh no." So respect me. When Gino says so respect me the way he did, I'm just like, ooh, I'm scared. Gino, calm down. And he's like, I need an emotional connection. Here we go. And Florian says everyone is on his side, but he is the problem. And however way you reverse it, flip it, turn and reverse it, it doesn't matter, okay? Florian is right. Gino is the problem. Whether it's Gino needing this emotional connection, using excuses, whatever, or respecting the fact that he has a different way of approaching things. It doesn't matter because, okay, he needs a different way of approaching things, fine, but he's not even trying. That's why Gino's the problem. So then, for whatever reason, Christmas gets brought up again. You established this already. Jasmine got it all wrong. Don't know how you forget that. But anyways, and Florian is like, bitch, bitch, because Gino calls him a bitch, bitch. And he advances on him, and Gino is trying to get at him to fight. Like all of a sudden, it was very anticlimactic. I kind of wanted to see a punch. Just one punch. I feel like if Gino actually were to punch Florian, he would just drop into like a pile of ash on the floor because, or maybe like Bella when she punches Jacob in the face and just breaks her hand instead. Like that would have been probably what if it happened. Yeah. Anyways, um, so yeah, so basically we go to Marshall come back. Um, Gino yells at him while being stopped from attacking. I like you, Florian, but I'll fuck you up. I like you, Florian, but I'll fuck you up. Can you? That feels like something you would have heard in Step Brothers. I like you, but I'm going to fuck you up. Like, seriously. Oh, man. Rob says, Florian, listen. He's going through it right now, okay? Friends. Um, and Sophie's like, he can, or says like to Gina, like, he can fucking anything because, like, he's a man. Like, I don't know, or human. And anyway, Florian and Gino basically make up after 5 minutes. Very anticlimactic, but it is what it is. The next day, Gino says, I got my own room because chaos erupted and that was called Chaos Florian. Jasmine says, I haven't slept. I've been crying all night. So that's been happening. Stacy is writing her vows and she asks Florian, did you write your vows? And he's like, I have it. It's all in here. Points to his head. Or his heart, or just like on his head. He's like, you don't wanna make an effort? Dig deep. I'm taking deep, going big. And it's like, okay, everyone processes things differently, everyone does things differently. If Florian wants to wing it, then I guess let him. But then he says to her, take it easy on that book. Brandon and Julia have a little picnic, and he says, your parents don't get along, and you're always stuck in the middle. What happens if they're in our house? Like, how does that work? How does that work? How do you have these two people who absolutely hate each other in the same room, in the same house? Yeah, no, I don't think so. Um, but Brandon says, like, it could ruin us. And she says, like, I will figure it out. And he says, if you could have told me in the beginning, but she says, but it's done. And again, it's, you can't do the what ifs because she made the decision. Maybe it was a poor decision to not tell you off the bat, but it's been done. There's no point in going back and doing the what ifs. And she's like, "Are you going to help me?" And he says, "It's hard to support something if I think it's going to, you know, be bad, cause issues between us." And she says, "If you can't, then don't come to the recommitment ceremony." So Gino goes to Jasmine's room and she tells him that, "I wish you were with me last night to comfort me. Ma'am, I think how things went the night before, he is not going to comfort you." And he goes, she's, "But now I was confident, with where we were yesterday with, the circle of it, or no, open marriage of it all." And she's like, "But today, like, I don't know." And he says, "I want to commit to you. I know the open relationship is best, but, with Matt, I'm not so sure." Again, I think he has the right to say, "Listen, as much as Rob is an asshole, and again, we'll get to it, how much of an asshole he is, um, he's not wrong in the sense of, okay, you've agreed to do the open marriage now. Now you go out and find somebody. You don't come in with one, you know?" And she says, "Well, like, I validate your fear, but I am not in love with Matt." She says, "I love you, but this is non-negotiable." So basically, she is, I think, being completely unreasonable, in my honest opinion. I think to go to someone and say, "This person is a non-negotiable," when, if I'm correct, y'all have agreed that if things are not going how y'all want it to go, y'all are not, feeling it, or he's not feeling it, or whatever, that Matt's out. So I understand that he's getting there before it has even happened, but he's not saying no to the open marriage. He's saying no to Matt. And I understand it's been 9 months and you need to build some sort of rapport with the person, which I think is also valid. So I think he needs to wiggle on that as well. But he's saying you have established a friendship with this person at the minimum. You are calling this man on your couples retreat where you're supposed to be fixing your marriage. Mm, Boundaries have been crossed before you have even entered into an open relationship, before you even broach the subject with your husband. So that part I understand. Like, honestly, if I heard that this person is a non-negotiable, I would be like, then I'm not doing it. Honestly, these two should never have recommitted, spoiler, but they never should have recommitted. I'm actually really shocked that they did. And because if you're going to come into this and be like, "This is a non-negotiable," when there should be no non-negotiables in an open relationship. And that's not correct. When it comes to the person for whom you're opening it up to say the person is a non-negotiable is a red flag. Non-negotiables could be certain things, like, for example, wearing protection. That would be a non-negotiable. More on that later. So, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, she said the non-negotiable, it has to be Matt. Why does it have to be Matt? I would be questioning that. Why him? If I was Gina, I would have questioned that. She that she says that she's saying this because Gina could go back on the open marriage. Yes, he could, but again, you want to say he has the right to go back on the idea of the open marriage. Just as much as if he were to do that, she has the right to back out of the marriage and say, unless something is going to change in our relationship in the physical sense, then I have to walk away. I think she's valid in saying, I do not want to be in a sexist relationship or sexist marriage, but he also has the right to say, okay, fine, yeah, we'll do this, but I don't feel good about him. Or, I don't feel good about the open relationship. However, he then has to say, okay, well, then I'm going to try harder to make some sort of physicality happen. And I feel like he's not willing to budge on that, and she's not willing to budge on what she wants, which means how they recommit is beyond me. So she starts crying, which, maybe I'll give her the benefit of the doubt here. She probably is being really emotional, thinking this is the only thing that she can do to save her marriage, but it also feels a little bit manipulative at the same time. Um, and she says, like, I love you so much. And he does actually hug her. He does hug her, making me think that he actually wanted to hug her. So, yeah. But do I think Jasmine loves him? Yes. But I think it is also possible to love someone and know that maybe it's run its course, or maybe there's nowhere else for this to go. It is okay to pull the plug. So, anyways, moving on. So all the ladies are gonna be getting ready together at State and Stacey's room, including Natalie, y'all, because she's still here. Um, she's like, I'm pissed off because I feel abandoned. He broke up with you. He broke up with you. So feel pissed, but he broke up with you. So I guess in the literal sense, yeah, you're abandoned, I guess. She's like, I am alone and I don't want to be alone. No one wants to be alone, but damn, I feel like being with Josh is just being alone anyways. Sophie says, now that Josh is out of the picture, though, you can focus on you. So that's good. Um, so she's gonna walk into that recommitment ceremony, Natalie is, and steal the show. Let me tell you, we'll get to it in a minute. So we basically open some champagne. Julia's drinking it from the bottle. We're getting dressed. And anyway, moving on. The men are already at the place where they're going to be recommitting. And I noticed that Brandon walked in with a backpack, and I don't know why. However, he walked in with a backpack, but Julia is the one who went into the backpack. So that was interesting. Maybe she just told him bring this backpack or whatever. Anyways, Gino has long johns on. When in Michigan, my guy, he's like, I'm almost prepared. And he's wearing a long john in Arizona. You're in Arizona. I mean, I don't know what the temperature is in Michigan currently. We don't know what time of year this is, but you're in Arizona. It is dry heat. You're not in Michigan. What is happening? Anyways, um, he said, yeah, I come prepared, and I wrote down, yeah, for Jasmine to not touch him. Anyways, um, and the way, okay, when the ladies get there, first of all, they're all wearing white. That was on purpose. When Natalie walks into this place, Lord have mercy upon my soul. It was, I've never seen her, the Natalie walk had such a, it was like times 100. It was the, the, her head was held to the sky. Her shoulders were I mean, Natalie does the model walk into normal situations. This, if back in the day we had America's Next Top Model, we had Miss J telling you how to do the walk, Miss J would have been like, you need to tone it down. Like, seriously, it was a lot. Um, so we're moving on to the actual recommitment. So Stacey and Florian are first, and Florian basically says, I don't like therapists. You told us that in the beginning, but it helped me. Interesting, because later in the tell-all, he's going to say completely different. Anyways, he says, you are my everything. I'm sorry for everything. I did bad, or sorry for anything I did bad to you. He says that he wants to use the tools that they've learned at home. So of course he's clearly wants to recommit. Um, she says, I took my time to write these vows, and I feel like that was such a dig to you didn't write shit, which I thought was kind of like, I mean, she definitely said that with a reason, which I don't know if I'm about. Because I think what he did say was very sweet. I do think what he said was, you know, it's it's Florian. He is doing Florian in this moment. Um, so I just didn't like the fact that she said that because it's kind of invalidating what he said or how his process is through this or whatever. You need to write things down. That is fine. He maybe doesn't want to write things down. That is also fine. And as long as he's putting in an effort, whatever that effort is for him. I just didn't agree with it, but I love her. It's fine. But yeah, it was just like this moment of I'm a stick it to you type situation. Anyways, she says that I'm getting older and wiser, and I wrote, really? Kidding. Anyways, she's like, I know what I deserve. Um, She said, sometimes there is a part of me that thinks I should let you go. And I'm telling you, when we saw this in the preview or saw like their recommitment in the preview, I'm like, oh, they're fine. And even like throughout the season, we're seeing the season on or whatever. I still was like, "Ugh, they're fine." In this moment, watching them go through this, I'm like, oh my God, is she going to say no? I was actually thinking she was going to say no. Um, But she continues on to say, you'll always be in my heart. It was that when she said, you'll always be in my heart. And I'm like, is she leaving him? Like, what? And she says, I'm sorry. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's leaving him. And she says, I'm sorry for the bad times, the negativity, but I am not going to leave you. And I'm like, oh. But she said, what I need is a promise to commit, respect boundaries, and I will listen more and talk less. And I said, never talk less. Never talk less. So, anyways, they have recommitted. So that is great. Let's move on to the next. This is going to be a doozy, and I have so much to say. So, Rob and Sophie are next. And Sophie goes first. And she said, I wrote a letter to my younger self. And I'm like, is Married at First Sight? Is that you? Knocking on this door? Listen, I think it was good for her to get out what she needed to get out. And I'm gonna say what I feel throughout this in a second. I think it was a perfect way for her to get out what she needed to get out. However, it wasn't to him. It was to herself. And that part I had an issue with. It's one thing if you do this letter to yourself, but you follow it up to directly speaking to him. And that never happens. So we'll get through it. So she says, stand up for yourself when other people are mean. And you're just like, fuck's sakes. Um, she says, yeah, so she says more about herself and whatever. So fast forward to grown Sophie, becoming a wife. And she says, she deserves love and happiness, even though who you marry is not your dream man. Rob is no rose, okay? He's no cup of tea. He's no rainbow. He's none of those things, okay? He is an asshole. However, she chose to marry this asshole. So for you to basically tell him, it's a no from me, dog, by saying you did not marry your dream man is fucking deplorable. It's you can even be grown enough. You're grown enough to marry him. The fact that you cannot be grown enough to say, I don't think this is going anywhere. I don't think we can sustain a marriage going forward. To put into words, directing it at him. Instead, you are writing this letter to yourself, your younger self, about how you're not going to marry your dream man is such a stab in the heart, the back, all the things. And I'm going to get a little bit more, like, I'm really going to unpack this because as much as I hate Rob and I cannot stand him and it's only going to get worse for me, I don't particularly like Sophie either. And I think it is okay to dislike one and dislike the other. It doesn't have to be any to like one and dislike the other. I dislike both of them. I think he is a dick, and I think she. It's stickier with her only because I think a lot of her issues stem from trauma and not doing the work really to deal with that trauma. But she constantly deflects onto others. She constantly says, you're the problem. I'm fine. You did this to me. I didn't do anything. You're mean to me, but I'm great. When it's like, no, you have faults in this marriage as well. And we don't need to unpack their seasons, but like, you don't tell him the truth about your sexuality. You move out of the house and not actually try to deal with the relationship or try to make it work or try to do whatever. If you're going to move out, fine, move out. But it's the effort that's that then after that was lacking. You know, you have your friend fight your battles who may or may not want to have sex with you. You have your mom involved in that as well. And it's just, there's so much that you've done wrong as well. And that's not taking from him. He is an asshole. There's things that have happened off camera that I know. And then there's things that we've seen on the camera. He, I wouldn't have married him, but she did. So you could have done a little better here on talking to him about how you were feeling. Um, so she says that she deserves love and she says that she deserves love and happiness, even though who you married is not your dream man, whatever that. You were happy with him for a few years. You always love and care for him. Well, it, basically that's kind of where it ends there. And again, when she finishes this fucking letter to herself, she doesn't follow that up with, okay, yeah, so with that said, like, I think I am not capable of recommitting. I don't think that we can make this work going forward. She just fucking stands there and stares at him and doesn't say dick all. And is kind of leaving him, which on one hand, it's great to see him flapping in the wind as a viewer. But as the second half of the other half of this marriage, seeing and flapping in the wind is kind of sucky. Like, I wouldn't do that. I'm not gonna leave my partner flapping in the wind. We're gonna lay it out, right? So it's quite frustrating to see that. So he says, "Well, guess that's pretty much it then. What else do you say? What else do you say?" Because again, like, she's not saying more than that. Nothing. Yeah, but she says she has the gall and the balls to say to him, "Well, I still want to hear what you wrote." Why? You have literally said it is over. What could he say to make, like, to make that different? And the thing is like, she's like, "Well, I," later on, I'm kind of going ahead here. She says, "Well, I don't know if he was going to recommit." I guess based on his reaction that he probably was. Would that, what would that done for you? Would that have changed your mind? Which I don't want her to do, but like, would that have changed your mind? With, like, what does that do? Does it validate you in some way? Does it make you feel good to know you weren't going to, but he was? Like, what is the end goal? And there's nothing more for him to say. You've said it all without saying much, but you've said it all. So what do you want from him in this moment? And he says, "No, what I wrote doesn't matter." And I kind of agreed with him here. Like, why am I going to give you that satisfaction? Makes no sense. But she asked for a hug, and I would have said no. I would have said, "I ain't giving you shit." But he's nicer than me in this moment, and he says, "Okay," and he hugs her, and she starts crying. She starts crying, and of course, he's comforting her. So in this moment, also knowing that he was going to recommit to her, in this moment, you have basically pulled the wool out from, or the rug out from underneath him. You chose to not recommit. You're the one that's crying, and he has to come for you. Really, truly. He has to come for you. And that goes in the other way. Even if like it was a flip side, I would say the same thing. So he has to literally make you feel better. He has to validate that you're okay, that you're not, the bitch in the equation or whatever. And I'm thinking, again, manipulative. And again, here's the thing. I think we say he's manipulative, and he is 1010%. He is manipulative. But so is she in a different way. But she is also manipulative, which is why I don't like either of them. So, yeah. Um, she says, like, "I love you, I do, but we are just not good together," which is true. They are not. It's just the delivery. That's all I ask. She's like, "I still want to be in each other's life." Again, manipulate for what? We're gonna find out for what in a minute. But like, what? I, he says, "I don't see how," because he obviously wants to recommit. So like, how? It's just like, "I'm just not happy, and I want us to be happy." Everyone is crying except Florian, because Florian has no dear ducks. Dear ducks, God, dear ducks. He says, "Listen, oh, this whole thing is motherfucking bullshit," is what he says. He's like, "That English muffin is never gonna grow up." And that too is true. And I think, again, the only way she is going to have a chance in hell in her future is getting fucking individual therapy to deal with her childhood traumas, teenage trauma or traumas, what adult traumas, whatever it is, traumas that she needs to deal with, especially childhood trauma, um, she needs to deal with that. That is the only, not just in terms of relationships, but like romantic relationships, but also creating boundaries between her and her mother, making sure she's not um creating friendships with people who are also manipulating her, because let's be very real, Kay, that bitch is manipulative. That person is not a friend. She needs to create healthy boundaries with people in her life. And she also needs to have healthy romantic relationships and create boundaries in those relationships as well. She has a lot of work that she needs to do. And it's really sad for me to see that she isn't doing it, or she doesn't feel like she needs to, whatever the case may be. Maybe it's age, I don't know. But again, like, everyone handles therapy differently. Everyone thinks of it very differently. But I mean, I was starting therapy when I was 21, 20, or maybe not even 20, 21, maybe even younger than that, 19, 20. So it's just like, go out there, and even if it's just to talk to somebody about things that is a third party, neutral third party, I can't even stress it enough. Anyways, so Rob then dips out. He's had it, he's out. Heidi's like, should I go check on him? I don't know, Heidi, maybe. But he literally is like, as she says, should I go check on him? We literally hear him say, leave me alone. He ain't about it. He feels like he is being jerked around, and I actually agree with him. Here's why. This man literally, in their last season of AGA, literally said, I can't do this anymore. I can't deal with the back and forth nonsense. I'm gonna need to end it. And this woman basically manipulated the situation, cried about the situation, kind of guilting him for his decision to end it with her. To the point where he agreed, okay, let's give this one last shot. Let's go to therapy. And he does that. They do that together. And listen, again, he is not perfect. He wasn't helping the situation. She wasn't helping the situation. But to basically have the end goal, or the end game, be exactly where he was at, but now she's in the driver's seat. She's the one who ended it, which was what she wanted to do, which is what Kay was like, how could he break up with her? She should be breaking up with him. So it's basically like, I'm going to flip it and reverse it, try this over again, and then I'm going to end it with you, because that's how it was always supposed to be. Because I guarantee you, if she ended it during the AGA season, things would have been very different. They probably wouldn't have been on the show. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I don't even know. It's just ridiculous. Anyways, he feels hurt. He says, he's like, I wish you would have just told me a long time ago instead of stringing me along. Which I know I get. I understand that. All right, we're gonna take a break from that for a bit. We'll go back to recommitment ceremony. So Brandon and Julia are next. Julia starts, and we see her going into the backpack and pulling out the rocks that they had during um their first group session. And she's like, my rock was parents, yours was baby. And she says, I agree to go for a second opinion. And she throws the rock, which nearly hit Gino. Anyways, then Brandon says, I want to help you with in any way to get your parents to the States. So with that, they recommit. Simple, easy, great. So then Sophie, after I guess Julia and Brandon have recommitted, she ends up dipping out. She says that she feels heartbroken for hurting Rob. Okay. which again, it's a valid thing. It's just okay. She just doesn't want to be around people right now. And producers ask her in this moment, well, do you think he was going to recommit? I don't know, Susan, maybe. Like, I think we can all agree, yeah. And she says, well, I don't know. Really? She's like, it would make me feel better, hence the make me feel better if he wasn't going to. Well, sorry, he was going to. Which I don't understand how he was going to. Like, I have questions for him too. Really? You were really gonna recommit? For what? Why? You guys have barely been in a marriage. Like, what? Anyways, um, and then Sophie's like, can I have a blanket, please? Just to wear her down. She says, future me will be happy, but right now I am not. Now he hates me. Not for long. Not for long. And we'll talk about that in the next, I mean, I think at this point I might be doing 2 episodes actually, because it was long, because it was 2 hours, but, um, I know initially I did say that, but, I was gonna do 2, but it's gonna be probably 2 episodes. Anyways, back to this. With Rob, he says, I am relieved, and I can move on now with my life. But he does admit that he was going to try. And the producers ask, well, are you ready to read what you wrote? Susan. That's it. Susan's with Sophie. Melinda. Really? Ma'am. No. Don't have this man really read what he was going to write. Because what is the point? You know? Luckily, he kind of just says, listen, I don't know. But he does agree to read the last page and give the rest to himself. And of course, he writes that he was going to recommit. And yeah. Anyways, lastly, we have Jasmine and Gino. And Jasmine says she finds herself choosing him every day. Ma'am, you do? Because I think she tries, but we also see him never choosing her. So, anyways, she's like, I will give you unconditional love. You what? Unconditional love as long as you let me have sex with another man. And protect you and cherish you. For what? Didn't this man literally say, I don't think I'm feeling mad? And you literally said that's a non negotiable, but I'm going to protect and cherish you. Oh, okay. Okay, Jan. She's, yeah, she's going to do those things for the rest of her life. Yeah. He says, I want you to, um, I want you to fight less and for you to listen to me. I want you to form a bond or I want us to form a bond, sorry. It's like I don't want to lose you. I will do what I have to do to keep you, let you have sex with Matt. She says, so what I am hearing is that you're willing to have an open marriage, and for our third, ma'am, your third, our third person to be Matt. And he says, yes, but I do have some rules, like if you and Matt, have too much of a friendship, this will be void. And I want us to work on our emotional connection so that we can also void the open relationship in that sense as well. Well, that never will happen. Um, so they kiss quite awkwardly. Like there is no the, the spark or whatever it was that they had, it's gone, y'all. It is up Shit's Creek. It doesn't exist. But we do get, I think, will be our final TMO. Actually, no, he wasn't one who would say TMO. It was that other dude from who was with the chick from Colombia. Anyways, um, both Stacey and Florian are like, this is no good. this is not gonna work. And I don't know which one it was. I think it was Stacy said, clearly Gino is only doing this to keep Jasmine. No shit. No shit. What gave that away? Anyways, that is it. That is the recommitment ceremonies. Um, and that is the end of the experience. The last couples that are left and finally drink some champagne. We cheer to no more therapy and no y'all need to still stay in therapy. Just not this therapy, but y'all need to get back into it. And let's cheers to Natalie being single because fuck Matt or Josh. Fuck Matt too. Fuck Josh. She says, I want to love and be loved, but I probably need to heal first. And I swear to God, when she said that, I'm like, oh, improvement. I think the therapy might have stuck. I really do. I mean, she's still crazy Natalie, but like, she's a little more, she's therapized a little bit more. Gino then says, kind of ending it off here, Gino says he hopes that they work on their emotional connection. And then we get oh God, physical intimacy. He, I think, kissed her or hugged her, and it was painful to watch. Painful to watch. He barely wants to touch her. Um, and Jasmine takes it as he is getting emotional. Yeah, emotional about potentially having to work on their intimacy. I don't know. I personally just think that he's trying to not throw up. Honest to God. The quote unquote emotion that he is having. Anyways, that is the end of that. The next thing that we're going to be doing is we're getting into the tell-all territory now. I'm going to do them as separate episodes just because, I might talk a bit and whatever. So it's not going to be at the end of this episode. That's going to come in the next episode. But anyways, that is it for this episode. Just, talking about the season generally. It was an amazing season, better than the first. This was a great season. This was a lot of fun. So yeah, that's it. And I loved the therapists. I thought they were great. I hope they kind of stick around. I think they really perfected it this time. But anyways, except for that one that just kind of showed up halfway through. Get rid of her. Anyways, that is it for me. That is it for this season. I'll be back with a tell-all part 1 in the next episode. But yeah, that is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I'll read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Week Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.